Good day, this is ACT 312 Production and Operation Study Section 1. I'll be taking you through the study section, and we'll be looking at Introduction to Production and Operation Management. Learning outcomes for Study Section 1. When you have studied this section, you should be able to number one, explain the concept of production. You should be able to discuss the different classification of production system. You should be able to explain production management, and lastly, you should be able to discuss operation management. Let's start with the concept of production. Production function is that part of an organization which is concerned with the transformation of a range of inputs into the required output, which is the same thing as product, having the requisite quality level. Production is defined as the step-by-step conversion of one form of material into another form through chemical or mechanical process to create or enhance the utility of the product to the user. Thus, production is a value addition process. At each stage of processing, there will be the value addition. At each stage of processing, there will be value addition. Some examples of productions are manufacturing custom-made products like boilers with a specific capacity, construction flats, some structural fabrication works for selected customers, and so on and so forth. And manufacturing standardized products like car, bus, motorcycle, radio, television are some example of production. Let's talk about production system. The production system of an organization is that part which produces products of an organization. It is the activity whereby resources flowing within a defined system are combined and transformed in a controlled manner to add value in accordance with the policies communicated by management. There are some characteristics of production system that we are going to discuss, and one of them is production. One of them is production being an organized activity. Production is an organized activity, so every production system has an objective. Secondly is the system transforms the various input into useful output. These are some of the characteristics of a production system. Thirdly, it does not operate in isolation from the other organization systems. And lastly, there exists a feedback about the activities, which is essential to control and improve system performance. As I said earlier on, we are going to talk about classification of production system, and let's talk about the classification. Production system can be classified into uh, um, four classes, which are job shop, batch, mass, and continuous production system. And we are going to discuss each of these one after the other. Let's first of all talk about job production. Job shop production. Job shop production are characterized by manufacturing of one or few quantity of products designed and produced as per the specification of customers within prefixed time and cost. The distinguishing features of this is low volume and high variety of products. A job shop comprises of general purpose machines arranged into different departments. Each job demands unique technological requirements and demands processing on machine in a certain sequence. Um, Let us look at some characteristics of job production. One of the characteristics of job production is high variety of products and low volume. Another one is use of general purpose machines and facility. Highly skilled operators who can take up each job as a challenge because of uniqueness. Another one is large inventory of materials, tools, and parts. And the last one is detailed planning is essential for sequencing the requirements of each product and capacities for each work center and other priorities. Job production has some advantages which we are going to talk about now. One of the advantages of job shop production is number one, because of general purpose machine and facilities, varieties of products can be produced. So it's one of the advantages of job shop production. Um, because of the general purpose machines, different facilities can be produced. Secondly, operators will become more skilled and competent as each job gives them learning opportunities. So each job paves way for them to learn. Thirdly, full potential of operators can be utilized. And lastly, opportunity exists for creative methods and innovative ideas. However, job shop production has some limitations, and one of them is higher cost due to frequent setup changes. Secondly, higher level of inventory at the levels and hence inventory cost. Thirdly, production planning is complicated. And lastly, large space requirement. It requires a large space. Let's talk about batch production. Batch production is defined by American Production and Inventory Control Society (APICS) as a form of manufacturing in which the job passes through the functional departments in lots or batches, or each lot may have a different routine. It is characterized by the manufacture of limited number of products produced at regular intervals and stocked awaiting sales. It also has some characteristics such as uh, where there's shorter production runs, when plant and machinery are flexible, batch production can be made use in these two different conditions. Also, when plant and machinery set up, batch production, when there are short production runs, and when plant and machinery are flexible, you can make use of batch production. When plant and machinery setup is used for the production of item in a batch and change of setup is required for processing the next batch. Also, when manufacturing lead time and cost are lower as compared to job order production. So these are some of the characteristics of batch production system. It also has some advantages, which are number one, better utilization of plant and machinery. Secondly, it promotes functional specialization, and cost per unit is lower as compared to job order production. Lower investment in plant and machinery, and flexibility to accommodate and process number uh, of products. Job satisfaction exists for operators. Similarly, like job production, when we are talking about job production, mass production also has some limitations, and these limitations are number one, uh, material handling is complex because of irregular and longer flows. Production planning and control is complex. Work in process inventory is higher compared to continuous production. And lastly, higher setup cost due to frequent changes in setup. Let us move on to mass production, which is the third one. Mass production under mass production, manufacture of discrete parts or assembles using a continuous process are called mass production. It means that under mass production, we have manufacture of discrete parts or assemblies using a continuous process. This production system is justified by very large volume of production. The machines are arranged in a line or product layout. Product and process standardization exist, and all output follows the same path. It also has some characteristics, which are: number one, standardization of product and process sequence; secondly, dedicated special purpose machines having higher production capacities and output rates; thirdly, large volume of products, short cycle time of production, lower in process inventory, perfectly balanced production lines. It also has the ability for flow of materials, components, and parts in continuous and without any back tracking. Production planning and control is easy in mass production. Material handling can be completely automatic. It has some advantages, which are higher rate of production with reduced cycle time, higher capacity utilization due to line balancing, less skilled operators are required, low process inventory, manufacturing cost per unit is low, and so on and so forth. It has some limitations, such as a breakdown of one machine will stop an entire production line. Line layout needs major change with changes in product design, and so on and so forth. Let's talk about continuous production. Production facilities are arranged as per the sequence of production operations, from the first operations to the finished product. The items are made to flow through the sequence of operations through material handling devices such as conveyors, transfer devices, etc. There are some characteristics under continuous production, as we have discussed under other types also before we came here. One of the characteristics is dedicated plant and equipment with zero flexibility. Material handling is fully automated. Process follows a determined sequence of operations, and component materials can be readily identified with final products. And lastly, planning and scheduling is a root action. It has some advantages, which are standardization of products and process sequence, high rate of production with reduced cycle time, high capacity utilization due to line balancing, and manpower is not required for material handling as it is completely automatic. The limitations are as follows: flexibility to accommodate and process number of products does not exist. So when we are talking about the flexibility, is unable to accommodate and process number of products. Another limitation under this is the very high investment for certain flow lines, and product differentiation is limited. Let's move on and talk about production management. Production management deals with decision making that is related to production processes, so that the resulting goods or services are produced according to specifications, in the amount and by the schedule demanded, and out of minimum cost. ES Buffer defines production management as decision making related to production processes, so that the resulting goods or services are produced according to specifications, in the amount and by the schedule demanded, and out of minimum cost. Let's talk about operating system. Operating system converts input in order to provide output which are required by the customer. It converts physical resources into output, the function of which is to satisfy customer wants, that is, to provide some unity for the customer. In some of the organization, the product is a physical good, for example, hotels, while in others it is a service. For example, in hospitals, bus and taxi services, tailors, hospitals, and builders are some of the examples of operating system. Everett E. Adam and Ronald J. Ebert define operating system as a function of an organization. An operating system is a function of an organization, is the part of an organization that produces the organization's physical goods and services. Rewire defined operating system as a configuration of resources combined for the provision of goods and services. So these are two very essential definitions of operating system. In other study sections, you'll be introduced to more about this topic. Thank you for listening.